Hey, what's up? It's Jake. A lot of people seem to be on one side or the other of the idea of buying musical instruments and amplifiers and stuff like that on the internet. I've been buying on eBay. I believe I bought my first bass on eBay probably around 1998 or 99. For me, I've bought probably in the neighborhood of 40 guitars or so, guitars and basses, and I don't know, probably 20 or 30 amplifiers on eBay and Craigslist and TalkBass, all these different Reverb, basically all these different online retailers or online marketplaces for gear. Only a couple of times have I ever had any sort of issue whatsoever, and just recently I got a bass that had a broken truss rod, and that sucks because that's a big deal. But I think my track record has been pretty good in terms of getting stuff that was just needed cleaned up or needed set up or whatever. A couple times I think I might have gotten amplifiers that I think I got one that had like a bit of a rattle in it or something, and I think I sent it back. For the most part though, everything has been awesome. And the coolest thing about buying online clearly is the availability of it. I could walk into my local music store every single day for 5 years and never see certain pieces of gear. I play Warwick basses. You can find them online everywhere, but as far as in your local store, unless they're a dealer, you're not going to find one in there very, very rarely. Realistically, I love the availability of stuff online. I love the pricing of stuff online, and I'm not a big people person. So if I can look for a guitar, while I'm sitting in my basement or while I'm, waiting for the kids to get out of the bus, so I'm on my phone, or I'm at work and I have a couple free minutes or whatever, I can check that stuff anytime, anywhere. I know what's out there. I know how much stuff goes for, and because of that, I'm able to get a good deal, and I get it pretty quick. Most of the stuff, if you buy something on eBay or something, you're probably going to get it within a week. That's pretty good. So I have always been a proponent of buying used gear to save money and buying that gear on the internet. Most of the people who oppose that sort of thing are the older crowd who think that everything has to be seen and held and played in person in order for you to actually pull the trigger on buying a product. And I get it. I do get it. I understand the concept of it. I understand wanting to know how something feels and wanting to be able to inspect it and all that stuff. And I basically just chalk all that stuff up as the reason why things cost more in a store or cost more in person. I feel like I am trading that stuff for the deep discounts that I find online. And I also feel like with most sellers and with most marketplaces like eBay, you have a lot of protections. So if I go on eBay and I use PayPal and I buy a guitar and it comes to me and it's not what I ordered, or it's in complete disrepair or something, the odds of me having to just be stuck with that item are so slim. I mean, I can contact eBay, I can contact PayPal, I can contact the seller. One way or another, I'm going to be able to return that item and get my money back. So there's really no risk involved in buying online, unless you buy from someone shady, or you use a method of payment that's not protected, or maybe you buy off of a website that's really kind of not on the up and up. If you stick with the main suppliers, the eBays, the Reverbs, stuff like that, you have the protection in place to sleep good at night, knowing that whatever you bought is supposed to be, whatever condition it's supposed to be in, that's the condition it'll be in when it gets to you. And if you ever have an issue, it's pretty easy to send it back and all that kind of stuff. So over the course of my 20 years of playing guitar and everything, I think that the number of pieces of gear in terms of guitars, basses, amps, speakers, pedals, all that kind of stuff, I think the number of those transactions I've had well exceeds 100. And, honestly, with the effects and everything looped in there, it's probably closer to like 150. And maybe it's just, me feeling comfortable because I've done it a bunch. But in general, I just feel like people sell things because they don't want them. They bought something and they don't play it, or they bought a pedal and they don't like the sound of it, or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons why people sell things. We all know that. I just genuinely believe in people, in human beings. I think that people are trustworthy as a general rule. I think that people selling things on these websites, they're not trying to pull one over on you. They're not trying to sell you something that's broken and hoping that you don't notice, or trying to sell you something based on a lie. I don't feel like that's the case with most sellers, so I don't have the apprehension that other people have with pulling the trigger on an expensive purchase. And I mean, I've spent real money on items before. I mean, I've got a number of the basses that I've bought have been, in the $5 to $1,000 range, $500 to $1,000. I would say most of the basses that I've bought fit into that sort of price range. But I've paid, $2,400 for a bass on eBay before that I never even played before I bought it. That's not something that everyone feels comfortable doing, but like I said, with the protections in place and all that, it's really not that risky. And you have the ability to get that bass that you've been wanting for a long time, that you aren't going to find no matter how many times you walk into your local shop. With regard to that stuff, the internet is just amazing. I don't know what I would be doing without the internet. I don't know what kind of gear I would play. I don't know if I would have ever discovered Warwick basses. I mean, I would have seen them, but I don't know if I would have ever gotten my hands on one. A lot of amps and different things that I've tried out over the years, I've tried out by just buying one. I know that's a terrible idea for some people. Oh my God, you bought that just to try it out? Yeah, because if you're smart enough and you watch the trends and the pricing and everything, just buy one when it's cheap and you can get it to you and check it out and play it, and maybe you try it out for one day, or maybe you try it out for a month or 6 months or a year, and then when you're done with it, you say, okay, well, it's not me, or it's not what I want, or I want something bigger or better or different or whatever. And so you just throw it back on there and you sell it again. If you buy something used, as long as you don't go crazy with the amount of money you're willing to pony up to buy something, you should be able to get your money back out of it. So buying used is my favorite because I feel like I'm never losing money. When you buy a new instrument, it's like buying a car. If you buy new, it's immediately worth way less. The depreciation from just taking it home is crazy. I mean, it's just astronomical. So rather than have that happen, I buy used because the previous owner has taken the hit on the depreciation. I'm buying the item for the price that he paid minus the depreciation. That's the price I'm paying. And if I'm smart about it and I take my time and I'm patient enough for the right thing, I'm going to be paying even less than that, because I'm going to find the guy who already ate the depreciation, and then maybe he just really doesn't like this guitar, or really needs the money, or whatever it is. He's selling it below market value. That's the guy I want to buy from. And I do, and I buy it, get it and I play it and I enjoy it, or I get to take my time figuring out if it's what I really want. And if I get to the point where I realize it's not what I really want, and not because it's junk or because it's got anything wrong with it or anything like that, sometimes it's just a matter of I bought a 5-string but I really need a 6, or I bought a 5-string but I'd really like to go back down to a 4, or whatever it is. There's all kinds of reasons why people sell things that don't have anything to do with them being faulty or problematic. Sometimes it's just not to their taste. Somebody buys an amp and they realize, well, this thing sounded great in the showroom, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work on my gig. It doesn't work in the studio, or whatever it is. They sell it. And sometimes they realize that in order to move it, they have to price it cheap. So they move it quick. That's where I come in. I buy it cheap, I use it, and then I sell it again. And if I can, I'll try to make a few bucks. If I buy a guitar for $400 and I think it's worth $500, then I'll buy it and I'll clean it up and I'll play it and I'll enjoy it. And, when I relist it, maybe I'll sell it for $500. And now I'm not out any money. I didn't lose anything from having this guitar, and a lot of times I've made good money that way. There's been several times where somebody was selling something just way too cheap for some reason, and I bought it because I knew what it was. And at that point, when you're buying something at a really good price, you're willing to accept that certain things might not be perfect with it. You're not gonna be overly meticulous about every little nick or scratch or ding when you've paid $300 or $400 under market value. So that's where I feel like I differ from the people who have to look at everything they buy in person and see it up close and all that. Because, they're looking at it from the perspective of, oh, well, I'm going to look for those kinds of things and I'm going to point them out to the seller and I'm going to negotiate that price down. Sometimes that works. It's true. But other times, you still overpay. For me, I don't overpay because I only buy stuff that I think is a cheap price, and I know what I'm looking at, and I know that if I get this item and I clean it up right and I take good pictures and stuff, I can sell it for a profit. And I don't do it as a means of making a living. It's nice to turn a bass over for a little bit of extra and maybe buy even a nicer bass or a nicer amp or whatever it is. I like that. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and you get a lot of different pieces of gear in your hands that you might not have gotten in your hands otherwise. And because of all of that I've done over the years, I've figured out which brands of effects I like, or which amps I like, or which cabs I really enjoy. I've tried a bunch of different ones, and sometimes it's because I really wanted that, and then once I got it, I realized, it's not really everything I hoped it could be. Other times it's because I saw it for a price that I just thought was, too good to pass up, so I bought it for the purpose of turning it over again. Whatever the reason is, I think that it's definitely worth buying online if you can convince yourself to pull the trigger. As long as you stick with the reputable sites and you pay with a method of payment such as PayPal, you're protected. You don't really have anything to lose. If you get the product and it's not what you wanted, it's not what they said it was, you're not out anything, because you can just send it back and get your money back. If they refuse to take the refund or take the return, get PayPal involved, and PayPal will get you your money back. It's insane. I mean, it's stacked against sellers so bad at this point. I mean, if you're a seller, it's a nightmare, because everyone who buys could potentially be a person who lies about what they got. I'm not saying that people are always like that. I'm not, and like I said, I trust that people are good. When people are selling, I trust that they're good. When they're buying, I trust that they're good. But it only takes one person to get something and then file a dispute with PayPal and say, oh, I got the thing, but it's not what I what I expected. And then before you know it, they take the money out of your account and they give it back to him. You know, it's a lot riskier to be a seller online than it is to be a buyer, truly. And because of that, I think that a lot of people need to consider shopping online for their basses and their guitars and stuff like that. I'm not saying that you're never going to get something that lets you down. I'm not saying that you're never going to run into a bad seller. I'm not saying that you're never going to run into a situation where maybe you don't get all of your money back if something goes haywire. I don't know. But I do know that after doing this for 20 years and after going through over 100 transactions, and probably closer to 150, the odds are very much in your favor to not have any issues. And so I highly recommend buying used and very highly recommend buying online. You never know what kind of stuff pops up on there, and you never have to overpay, because as long as you have self-control, you can determine how much you want to pay. You will overpay if you get yourself into a bidding war, or if you make your mind up that you have to have this item, then you might overpay for it. But if you're willing to be patient and wait for the right deal to come along on the right item, you can't go wrong with the internet. The internet has changed the world for the better, in my opinion. There are lots of things that probably have died or have gone by the wayside because of the internet. But I think that e-commerce is one of the greatest things to ever happen in my lifetime, and I really enjoy it. I love not having to walk into a shop and have some squirrely salesman trying to, talk to me and trying to beat out of me what I'm there for or what I'm interested in. I've worked in sales for over 10 years now, and I get it. I'm totally okay with the idea of salesmanship, but I don't want to be sold. I don't want a salesman trying to give me a pitch. I know what I'm looking for. I don't need some salesman trying to tell me what I should buy. I'm out on that. So for that part alone, it's worth buying online. And because there's no risk, what do you have to lose? You could find the base of your dreams, and you may not have ever found it if you were just absolutely refusing to shop online.